now on sale at Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Morning.
Good morning.
Guten Tag.
Gluten Tag.
Really?
Yes. In case you're gluten-free.
Gluten resistant?
Yeah, apparently.
Welcome to another morning here in South Louisiana. WAFB Plus 9 News now every Monday through Friday at 9:15, kind of stepping you through your day. This looks a lot better than it did just a few hours ago.
Cool.
I mean, it's still overcast, but
Yeah.
by look, I mean, at some point this morning, you can't even see any of this.
No, a blanket of fog was covering the Children's Hospital. All you could see was the roving lights, the top beautiful hospital.
Just all over.
Right, and it was very gloomy, and dreary. I'm just combining the words
Screw it. This
now.
is a brand new word.
Gleary.
Look, our script, in the morning, the script is there, and you only got a certain amount of time.
Right.
And so if you're trying to say both of those words, why bother saying both of those words?
Sweep them.
Gleary.
I like it.
This is kind of Gleary. This is not Gleary. It was Gleary this morning.
Yes, it was. And that's because we had that ugly rain that came through.
Yeah.
And by ugly, I mean, it's just that annoying rain, where it's just kind of scattered.
Yep.
And it's just periodic. You never know when it's going to stop. We're going to get more about that just throughout the day today. So just be prepared as you move through your Wednesday, your midweek, and because as we move on to the rest of the week, we're expecting a little bit more of that ugly, dreary, Gleary pattern.
Look at the 82 on Friday. Now,
Can you
Steve was
believe
saying
that?
that would tie a record. That would tie a record.
That's insane.
That is ridiculous. And then obviously you see the front pushing through into Saturday morning kind of time frame, and then later, and then you see the cool down happening on Sunday. But then warms back up again. Whatever. It's such the ride.
How are you going to get 82 to 38?
It's such the ride.
Bonkers.
It is.
Bonkers. What else are we tracking on this Wednesday?
This actually popped out when we were on the show this morning. We've been talking a little bit about the Omicron variant, of course, of COVID-19, whether or not these vaccines that are out right now would benefit, are they still able to give you some level of protection? Pfizer is saying, you know what? Our booster does give you a pretty good level of protection against Omicron.
And they're still doing these tests to see the percentage of exactly how effective it is for Omicron variant. And that's the struggle here is people already have gotten double vaccinated. And as you try to navigate, well, what am I going to get for my booster shot? It is safe to mix and match, but this is certainly an indication of what you may be more inclined to get as you schedule those appointments.
And as you talked about as well, there's still, all that research is continuing.
Yeah.
They're not slowing down. They're not stopping with any of that. But there was some concern about the potential severity of Omicron.
Yeah.
Right now, it looks like it may be more transmissible in some areas. You even heard Dr. Anthony Fauci talk about the fact that maybe it's not as serious. He was a bit hesitant when he said that. Didn't want to put too much, out there. Just, please be careful. Exactly. But again, this happening just this morning. So some peace of mind, perhaps, some good news in the fight against COVID.
We'll keep you posted as we learn more.
All of that. Speaking of COVID, a deadline today over at Southern University.
Today is the deadline for students and staff to submit their proof of vaccination. Really important if you are a student and you do not want any of your classes dropped for the spring semester. If you're a staff member, well, you could face mandatory discipline. What that is, it's probably going to be by a case-by-case basis, but better to not test that policy than to just submit your proof of vaccination.
What about exemptions? Actually, that was an option, that was a possibility, but that deadline is passed. That was last Friday. So now it is about proof of vaccination.
Hard and clear.
And so, jump online right now. It's pretty simple to do, but just make sure it gets done, because if you're a student and you don't provide that, you could have your classes dropped for spring of 2022, and as you mentioned, disciplinary action potentially for employees. Let's keep you there at Southern for a minute, shall we?
Yeah, so now that the coach has been hired, the football team, the search now comes for the President Chancellor. Ray Belton announcing a couple months ago that he is retiring from Southern University, the entire system. So the search for that position now continues, and there's actually a meeting happening today.
Right there.
That's why you see the bold, yellow, highlighted text. That is if you would like to see the search process, what goes into that, and the meeting happening today.
Absolutely. This is a way to be a bit voyeuristic in a good way, easy, as you watch the process kind of get going with a lot of this. Because as you said, this is not just a search for a dean of a college or a president of a single university. We're talking about a chancellor and president for an entire system in our state here. Southern system in Louisiana. So it is going to be a bit of a process, and you can be right there at the beginning of it. Find the story. It's really easy in the 9 News app. Click on the link. It'll take you to it. You can watch, listen, and you can be informed without even having to deal with us.
Look at that. We make it really easy
Well,
for
we're
you.
trying. We're trying.
Yeah.
So that's happening today. A week from today, something we want to put on your radar because this is big time. Some major companies in the tech world, in the job fair.
Louisiana Economic Development, they want to let you know that if you want to participate, they're looking for jobs. 7 different companies across the state are hiring. A couple of them are actually in the Baton Rouge area, including Premier Health, Rural Staffing, Sparkhound. If you are interested, even if you are just looking for a job, it's worth it to go on to see what opportunities they have right now. But registration is required. So while you have the time, go ahead and take care of polishing up your resume, practicing those job interviewing skills, and register. That's the all-important thing, because if you don't participate, if you don't register, you can't participate.
Exactly. And so why are we doing this a week in advance? Well, tech is huge.
Heads up.
It is a gigantic ball rolling down the interstate.
Yeah.
A lot of different companies are hiring. We'll make sure that you're well prepared, ready to go. As Liz mentioned, get the resume going. Give yourself a little bit of time. Make sure you're registered. We'll remind you again next week as the date really gets on top of you, but wanted to make sure that you knew about it in advance. So you can just put it on the radar and get the ball rolling.
On the 9 News app.
Right there, kind of easy for you. Holy monkey. You got impacted, yes?
Oh, yeah.
Who
We
didn't?
got impacted.
Yeah, no kidding.
Channel 9 could not post web stories, so it was hard for you to get the updates because our web server, our web system is hosted by Amazon Web Service. So if you were trying to log on to Amazon yesterday, if you were trying to track a package, if you were trying to order anything on Amazon, chances are you probably had trouble at some point yesterday.
Do you know what Amazon Web Services controls? I mean, look, a lot of you probably already know, but for instance, if you were trying to watch, where was I finding it? Disney Plus.
Yes.
You Disney Plus family?
Instacart.
Hello? Exactly.
McDonald's.
You're not getting any of that. Now, everything's good to go right now, but you and I were just talking about it earlier today, going through that yesterday. It is amazing to see maybe some of what you didn't know was run by or controlled by or under the umbrella of, now you know, because they got hit and so many folks felt the impact.
Right.
And as you mentioned right here, because Gray Television uses those services, Gray Television owns, among many other TV stations, WAFB, got hit with that. The connectivity. We love being able to be connected as, well, sometimes we love being connected, but it is a benefit in so many cases and instances.
Right.
But every once in a while, when the pins fall, they all fall.
Yeah.
This was that.
We were a victim of that yesterday. And so subsequently, so were our viewers.
Yeah.
And people trying to find information. So downdetector.com, the site that reported all these outages, they're reporting today that everything is back up and running. But if you are in the situation where you're finding trouble when you go to these websites, it's a good resource to see whether it's impacted by some kind of outage. But good to know, today we're able to be here with you.
We're able to we're good to go.
Yes.
Which is critical for something like this. We really want you to be connected with this story, and we're trying to make this easy to make sure our angels are adopted.
We're talking about Salvation Army's Angel Tree program. So 4 days now, we have been reporting about how this year the program is hurting a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
So they're still looking for angels, about 600 angels, is that right?
I think we're down to just below 400.
400.
They were, just below 400, or right around that 400 mark. But this is where they were
Come
just
Sunday.
a few days ago, 1,600. So people heard. And they just marched in like a Salvation Army.
1,200 of
marching
you.
in. Exactly
Yes.
right. But they do still need a little bit of help. And Callie Hubbard was live this morning talking with the folks. And to see that immediate impact, the call out for help, and to see it come rushing in is fantastic. But she also gave a great visual look at what is missing. The warehouse this morning, if you're with us this morning, the boxes there and filled up and ready to go. But then you saw the little blue outline.
Yeah, empty squares
still
left to fill.
Yeah.
And so that is where you come in.
Yeah.
It takes you adopting one child, and it doesn't have to be a lot. It's just a list of what the child may need, what the child wants for Christmas. And again, this is a huge burden lifted off the parents' shoulders who cannot provide for Christmas this year. And obviously with the pandemic, it's been a rough couple of years.
Yeah, no
so
kidding.
to take away this worry for them is a huge blessing. If you can help, we've got the details in our story right now for you to adopt an angel, adopt a child.
Easy.
Friday is that all-important deadline. So if you are expecting a paycheck and you could afford to spare, $10, $15, it could create a big difference for a local family in need.
You really could help. Gosh, you really could help. And we're going to talk more about that. We are. We still got a little ways to go with this.
Yeah.
Talking about this. I'm gonna cry. I told myself I wasn't gonna cry.
Rest in peace. Give your time and give yourself time to mourn.
Popeyes fans, look, look, depending on who you are down here, I don't know, you're a Raising Cane's fan, I don't know, Chick-fil-A, maybe that kind of thing, churches, that kind of thing. I'm sorry, but I was born and raised on Popeyes. When I wasn't living in Louisiana, every time I came back to visit family or whatever, it was first meal.
Yep.
I'm gonna get the home cooked stuff in a minute. First meal, take me to a Popeyes
I mean,
right now.
It makes sense.
From airport to Popeyes, then home. That kind of, that was it. No, I'm not kidding. It had to be. We used to have, in a few different places, buffets, Popeyes buffets. And there was one remaining in Lafayette until
today. They are shutting down, given the pandemic, right? So when you talk about pandemic and people putting their hands in food, or everyone gathering around food, not the best type of business to have. Restaurants were already hurting to begin with, but now they are closing the last remaining Popeyes buffet in Lafayette. And a lot of people are very fond of this because they would go to it with their family. They would go for lunch. I mean, for what, $10? $10.
$10.
You could get a lot of food. You could do a lot of sides, a lot of chicken, a lot of biscuits with water, because it's a lot going on there at the buffet.
Make sure you hydrate. You're right.
Yes.
That can get a bit cakey if you're not careful as well. But we were just talking about it. Liz asked me, she's like, seriously, how much chicken are you going to eat for $10? I'm like, here's the thing. Give me a 4-piece.
Oh, he had a plan.
Give me a 4-piece. I'm going to get that one biscuit.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to fill up. It's like a cruise ship, man. Don't fill up on the bread.
No.
Although the biscuit is fantastic. 4 pieces. Little biscuit.
Okay.
And then whatever room I got left, sides. I'm going
where
back
it's
for the red beans and rice.
Yes.
I'm going back for the mashed potatoes.
Yes.
I mean, the mac is even good. I mean, there was just something about it. But yeah, closing up. New management kind of alluded to the fact that this was probably going to happen once dining room service began again. You know, it was all the drive-through stuff.
Yeah.
So it is, closing up shop. End of an era. End of an era.
We rest in peace and we mourn it.
Now on Popeyes. I don't care how I get it. Just I'll drive.
Well,
through.
good thing we have many locations in Baton. You may have to wait a minute, but you have options.
That's true.
You have options.
All the options.
Yeah.
The options on WAFB Plus?
Many of them.
A great many?
Amazon Fire TV when it's up and running. Roku and Apple TV. You got options. So if you can't watch it there, you can watch us on Roku and Apple TV.
Not sponsored by Amazon.
Clearly.
A great promo. Yeah. Here's the thing. But yeah, that all connected. So many different things to be a part of on the Plus when it's up and running.
Yes.
Just hopefully a good way for you to find us when you want, where you want.
That's the great thing about this, is that we try to make this unique, so it's not what you're seeing on the mothership. So this is exclusive content that you're finding here.
It is.
On 9 News Now, and then later today, you've got Jock Talk at 1 o'clock. And as Matt has said, week after week, this man has stayed busy. Our entire sports department has stayed busy with the coaching carousels, with the wrapping up of the end of the seasons, with the moving into the new seasons. A lot going on.
Transfer portal exploding on top of LSU right now. They're losing their starting quarterback before the bowl season. What does that mean? I mean, there's a lot going on. All things Jacques D will cover with Jacques Talk.
In the meantime, on this Wednesday, pack an umbrella
Apparently.
or a poncho.
You know, thankfully, hopefully, as Steve was talking about, the fog moving out before the morning ended and the rain moving out before the afternoon began. Thankfully, but man, it was an interesting drive this morning. It certainly was.
And we'll see what tomorrow holds on 9 News Now. We'll keep you posted, but in the meantime, enjoy your Wednesday and try to stay dry if you can.